Hello and welcome. My name is James McNeil here at mentalmma.com. This is the video series entitled The Emotionally Intelligent Fighter. This particular video is entitled Retraining Instinct, to talk about the instinctual reactions that can get us into trouble. Very basically, if you were to swing anything towards my face, my natural tendency is to close my eyes and jerk my head back. This is normal and healthy for normal people. However, for a mixed martial artist, it could get you in trouble to close your eyes. It could also get you in trouble to move your head in predictable directions, because then the other person can predict the direction. Recently, I was watching a fight where the fighter actually did that. They intentionally did, and they told us after the fight, they said, I went for the overhead right, knowing that they would duck their head right in line for my left hook. And so they faked the right, hit them with the left hook, and knocked them out. And so fighters prey on other fighters' instinct. And what I mean by that is ancient instinct. Those things that have been passed down through the years, right? The genetic predisposed instinctual reactions. And so if we allow ourselves to behave instinctually, if a fighter behaves instinctually, they can be predictable and therefore countered, and it can be preyed upon. So what we want to talk about is, how do I retrain instincts so that unconsciously I will knee-jerk react in a way that's actually in my benefit in the sport called mixed martial arts. What does it take? Well, it takes a lot, because instinct is there for a reason. To retrain instinct takes a lot. Piece by piece and case by case, it doesn't take that long. But if you're talking about the total of the sport of mixed martial arts, it can be guesstimated that the investment would be 10,000 hours. Now, for those of us who are not mixed martial artists, we can be grateful that we don't have to put in that kind of time. If you want to participate at the high levels, it takes about 10,000 hours to retrain instinct so that you behave appropriately for the sport, rather than instinctually, which becomes predictable. And so, yes, it's a huge investment of time, and it is, for those who have done it, worth it, because it produces freedom and enlightened reactions rather than habitual reactions and predictable reactions. Okay, 10,000 hours. And if you're a prospect to be a mixed martial arts professional, if you're thinking about the sport, just think about the investment. How many hours a week can you spend in the gym? There's nothing that's going to make up for that kind of time of practice and practice and practice, to be trained and retrained, to roll with great fighters, to spar with great fighters. And without that, we're just not being pushed to the level that we would be required to fight at the top. So 10,000 hours to expert level. For those of you who are in the gambling world, you're watching these things so that you can understand the sport a little bit more, then you'll understand now the importance and the value of experience. So sometimes we have an experienced fighter who might be a little bit older, and maybe they don't have some of the skills that the younger fighter has, natural strengths, but they have that experience, and that experience factor always counts, and it counts because they have had that time to retrain instinct. So that's what I want to talk about here. So that's what it takes to retrain instinct. And what hopefully it's clear now, it's the instinctual reactions are not the ones I was born with, but the ones I've developed now. Okay, good. Now the benefit, you can enter into what's called precognitive genius. So we're talking in the milliseconds here. We're not talking about minutes. We're talking about milliseconds of time difference. But here's what it means. Precognitive genius. First of all, we know that there is precognitive thought or emotive interpretation. Precognition means before I'm able to think about something, I've already reacted to it emotionally or otherwise. The subconscious mind, the non-conscious mind, reacts very, very quickly without the conscious mind being aware of why. Sometimes we have a feeling, we don't know why we feel it. That's precog. Also, we know that there's a superhighway between the senses and the emotive center, or the instinctual centers of the brain. And normally they go from the eye to something called the thalamus, and then to the neocortex. Normally there's a pathway where the content is interpreted and then filed through the brain for appropriate response, emotionally and otherwise. But we also know that there's a highway that goes straight to the emotion center without the rational thought. Some research was done. A gentleman was, in fact, blind. Now, his eyes were working, but there was a breakage of the connection between the thalamus and the neocortex. And what they did was they showed him images and asked him if he could see what he was looking at. Of course, he couldn't see it because he couldn't consciously see it. However, he was emotionally reacting to the photos, and that's where the fascination came in, and we began to understand there's other ways that we can interpret data. And so he would not say, I see the image of a car crash, but he would say, I feel sad. He would not say, I see a person with a knife, but I feel afraid. So he would feel what his eyes are seeing, but his brain is not seeing, because he emotionally responded to the image. And so we do know that those triggers go straight to the emotional centers, and if we can retrain instinct, we will instinctually, non-consciously respond appropriately. So this is precognitive genius, and what was I going to say there? So instead of knee-jerking this way and getting away from a hand that's coming close, we would actually be able to dodge consciously, not consciously, but precog genius, to actually make the right decision even without the conscious mind rationally engaging. So hopefully that helps to understand the retraining of instinct and the value of retraining instinct, because then we can automatically and at lightning speed respond appropriately to the stimuli coming at us, and that takes retraining of instinct. Hopefully that helps, and that's where experience comes in so very valuable when you're studying fighters. So thank you so much. Hope this was helpful, and I will take more and more time on different videos to flesh these things out, to explain how they apply. So thank you. Hope this was helpful. Again, this is James McNeil at mentalmma.com, and we are your source for the mental game of mixed martial arts. Thank you. Speak with you soon.